If you're in the mood for something lighthearted, there's nothing better than firing up a comedy on Netflix. It can be tough to find the right comedy for you in Netflix's massive library of content, but thankfully, we've narrowed it down to some of the best films offered. Let's take a look at some of our favorite comedies on Netflix for fall 2019. In this visually inventive adaptation of the graphic novel series, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World follows Scott, a washed-up 22-year-old both unemployed and crushed by a recent breakup. After meeting the literal girl of his dreams, Scott must battle Ramona's 7 evil exes, while also working to grow as a person and to defeat his inner demons. Directed by Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim pulls from comics, video games, and anime to become something entirely new. Goon tells the story of Doug Glatt, a bouncer-turned minor league hockey player who takes up the position of enforcer on the Halifax Highlanders after finding success on his local team. When Glatt, a kind-hearted but dim-witted man who tries to do the right thing, gets in the way of his hero Ross the Boss Rhea, things promise to get bloody as the two go head-to-head on the ice. The best friend or romantic partner conundrum has been a mainstay of Hollywood rom-coms since When Harry Met Sally premiered in 1989, but we continue to enjoy seeing twists on the same formula 30 years later. In Sleeping with Other People, Jake and Lainey hooked up in college only to go their separate ways. When they run into each other 13 years later, the two of them decide to stay friends, only for their sexual tension to get the better of them. The first 2 Thor movies weren't our favorites in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Thor Ragnarok is a huge step in the right direction. 1 part comic book, 1 part comedy, Ragnarok sees Thor face his greatest threat yet when his sister Hela arrives to claim her right to the throne of Asgard. Visually stunning, hilarious in parts, and featuring some stellar performances from the supporting cast, Thor Ragnarok is a great comic book epic. Wet Hot American Summer was panned upon its release in 2001, but thanks to its cult following and a dedicated fan base, the film is now considered one of the best comedies of the 2000s. Featuring an ensemble cast with major names like Amy Poehler, Paul Rudd, Bradley Cooper, and Elizabeth Banks, Wet Hot American Summer follows several counselors in training at Camp Firewood on the final day of camp in 1981. With an irreverent sense of humor and a deep level of silliness, Wet Hot American Summer is a must-see comedy. If you've never seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you're in for a pleasant surprise. Often considered one of the best comedies of all time, the film was the first time the legendary comedy group jumped from television to the big screen. Though original reviews of the film were mixed, the group's loving parody of The Legend of King Arthur has become beloved for its unique sense of humor and its quotable script. It might not be February, but with Groundhog Day streaming on Netflix, you can relive one of the best comedies of the 20th century again and again. Bill Murray stars as Phil Connors, a local weatherman who is persuaded by his producer Rita to head up to Pennsylvania to report on Groundhog Day. Once there, he finds himself reliving the same day over and over as he gets stuck in a snowstorm he himself said would miss the area. Movies come and go from Netflix all the time, so make sure you subscribe to Tech Junkie for the latest movie and TV show recommendations on Netflix, and let us know in the comments your pick for the best comedies currently streaming.